So we are about to hear from President Trump again any moment, along with a task force that is focused on national security, as the United States is in the middle of very big preparations for the 2028 Summer Olympics in Los Angeles and FIFA World Cup, an enormous event that will take place in the U.S. next year. These things take a couple of years of planning. So it was, as you probably witnessed earlier today, a very busy day over at the White House. The president wrapping up an important sit-down with Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, brand new to the job, his first trip to the White House. It was friendly, I would say, overall. It had its moments when Trump stood firm on tariffs and the issue of potentially making Canada the 51st state.
You had said that Canada should become the 51st state.
No. Well, I still believe that, but it takes two to tango, right? And it's also a beautiful, as a real estate developer, I'm a real estate developer at heart.
As you know from real estate, there are some places that are never for sale.
Never say never. Never say never.
Is there anything he could say to you in the course of your meetings with him today that would get you to lift tariffs on Canada?
No.
Why not?
Just the way it is.
50% of a car that comes from Canada is American.
We want to make our own cars. We don't really want cars from Canada. We really don't want Canadian steel, and we don't want Canadian aluminum and various other things because we want to be able to do it ourselves.
Fascinating, right? To watch this play out, let's bring in Fox Business anchor David Asman. David, good to have you with us.
Great to be here.
Obviously, Mark Carney, very different from Justin Trudeau, and I think the temperament of this meeting was different because I think that Trump respects Mark Carney as a businessman. We have his resume, very impressive up here on the screen. He's now the prime minister. He was at Goldman Sachs for years. He was at the head of the governor of the Bank of Canada, governor of the Bank of England. So a very accomplished person.
Well, I think Donald Trump likes him. I mean, he's liberal. It's interesting that the liberal won over the conservative, but Trump seems to have said, he said in the past, and I think he essentially repeated it today, he prefers dealing with this guy, with the liberal. He thinks he can make a deal with this guy, partly because of the fact that he is a like-minded business person. He knows how to deal with business. Let's face it, Trudeau, his predecessor, another liberal, Trump didn't really respect him as much. He seems to respect this guy because he is smarter, I would say, on economic affairs than Trudeau was. So they're going to try to make a deal. But you got all of the speaking moments that he had from that half-hour meeting because Donald Trump just went on, and there were times when he kind of politely raised his hand, said, I would like to address it. And Trump just dismissed that. He didn't even acknowledge it.
He got in about 3 times, I think.
A couple of times.
And he said, it will never be the 51st state.
Yeah,
and Trump at one point said, that line that's drawn across the top of North America, it looks like somebody just took a ruler and did it. It's completely arbitrary, was his suggestion.
By the way, there is something going on in Canada that people here in the States don't really know about. There is a move by a couple of provinces, primarily Alberta in the West, which has a lot of oil. It's a very rich province. Right. The premier has suggested that they're not getting anything from the federal government. They're giving billions. At one point, the premier is a woman. She said, Premier Smith said that they've given $1 trillion worth of mineral wealth to Ottawa, to the central government, and have received practically nothing in return. 33% of Albertans want to secede from Canada. Yep. And remember that Quebec tried to do that a couple of decades ago. It actually went to the Canadian Supreme Court in 1998, and they outlined a process by which you can secede. It's the only Commonwealth nation that allows a nonviolent process for secession. So I think Donald Trump and this 51st state thing is playing into that, what's going on in Canada. It seems totally out of the ballpark.
Chip off a piece at a time and do business with the very oil-rich section of Canada.
Exactly.
And I think that, he basically is saying, look, I've seen, people who appeared incalcitrant, and I've done deals with them in the past. So he's clearly still chipping away at that. This is Scott Bessent talking about when we're going to hear these trade deals, because the president sort of hinted, I'm going to make a very big announcement at the end of this week, the beginning of next week, before he heads off to the Middle East. This is Scott Bessent, and then tell me what you think that announcement might be.
I would be surprised that if we don't have more than 80 or 90% of those wrapped up by the end of the year, and that may be much sooner that I would think that perhaps as early as this week, we will be announcing trade deals with some of our largest trading partners. They have come to us with very good offers.
What do you think about that? And what do you think the big announcement that
Well,
Trump teased might be?
Honestly, I think the big announcement is not going to, my own personal feelings, it's not going to be about trade.
He kind of said that.
I think it may be. In fact, he did suggest it. He said maybe it won't be about trade. I think it might be that Saudi Arabia is going to join the Abraham Accords, something like that. Having said that, I do think that they may have a trade deal or two to announce before the trip. So there may be something as opposed. He's a great teaser. President Trump has a lot of experience in television. The tease can be the most important part of the program, where you tease a segment because you don't want to lose your audience. In fact, the prime minister said, "I'm on the edge of my chair, waiting to hear what this announcement is." Having said all that, I think it's a problem that members of this administration have kind of jumped the gun on the president, and I'm talking about Howard Lutnick, the Commerce Secretary, who said a couple of weeks ago that they had a deal
we have
already.
a deal. It's already done.
Yeah, but you know, wait for it. It's going to be a while. I think that's one reason the market was kind of disappointed by that trade meeting, not because of Canada specifically, but because again, the president was stalling on any announcement.
Okay, David Asman, thank you. As
My
always,
pleasure.
Great to hear from you.
Good to be here.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.